We are going to break down 10 tool categories in the $25 range that are selling out this month at Lowe's and Harbor Freight. These are everyday tools people are buying because the December pricing makes them practical buys, not because they're flashy or overhyped. In each category, we look at one option from Lowe's and one from Harbor Freight, focusing on which December deal makes more sense to grab right now, rather than which brand is better overall. And at the end of the video, we'll go over what actually matters when buying cheap tools in December, what to look for, what to avoid, and how to decide when a low price is worth it. Let's get started. 10. Adjustable wrenches. At Lowe's, one of the most consistently moving hand tools this month is the Cobalt 8-inch adjustable wrench. This is a basic tool, but that's exactly why it's selling fast in December. It's an easy add-on purchase when the price is right. The Cobalt version uses a chrome vanadium steel body with a slightly thicker handle profile than older budget wrenches. The jaw adjustment is tight enough that it doesn't feel sloppy under light torque, which matters for homeowners doing quick fixes, furniture assembly, or basic plumbing work. This wrench is typically stocked in the hand tool aisle near pliers and combination wrenches, and it consistently lands in that easy, under $25 impulse range. Over at Harbor Freight, the Pittsburgh 8-inch adjustable wrench continues to be one of their highest volume hand tools. This is a no-frills wrench, all steel, no grip overlay, lighter overall weight. It's the kind of tool people grab as a backup, a glove box wrench, or something to keep in a secondary toolbox. Pittsburgh tools sell fast in December because they're easy to justify when people are buying multiple items at once. In terms of December deals, both of these wrenches are moving because they hit the same psychological price ceiling. The Lowe's wrench feels like a cleaner, more refined pickup if you want a single adjustable wrench that lives in your main toolbox. The Harbor Freight wrench makes more sense if you're buying multiples, or just need a functional tool without overthinking it. That good tool versus easy buy pattern shows up again in the next category. 9. Screwdrivers and bit sets. At Lowe's, one of the faster moving items in this category is the Cobalt Multi-Bit Screwdriver Kit. This is the kind of tool people grab because it solves a lot of small problems without committing to a full set. The Cobalt handle has a thicker grip with a slightly flattened profile, so it doesn't roll off a surface and feels stable when applying downward pressure. The bits themselves are the common sizes people actually use: Phillips, flathead, Torx, and square, which is why this kit moves quickly in December. It's practical, compact, and easy to justify when you're already picking up something else. At Harbor Freight, the steady seller is the Pittsburgh or Icon Compact Bit Set, depending on what's stocked locally. These sets don't focus on the handle as much as volume. More bits, more variety, fewer extras. People grab them to refill missing bits, build a cheap backup kit, or keep one in a drawer where tools tend to disappear. What's driving sales here is convenience. The Lowe's option appeals to buyers who want one screwdriver that covers most household tasks without hunting for loose bits. The Harbor Freight sets move because they let people solve the missing bit problem cheaply and all at once. You'll see that same pattern again in the next category: small tools that solve annoying, everyday problems. 8. Tape measures. At Lowe's, the Cobalt 25-foot tape measure is one of those tools that quietly sells non-stop in December. It's not flashy, but it checks the boxes people care about when they realize they need a tape measure again. The Cobalt tape has a wide blade with clear markings and enough standout to handle basic measuring without collapsing immediately. The lock feels firm, and the housing has a bit of rubber overmold, which helps when it gets tossed into a drawer or tool bag. This is the kind of tape measure people buy to replace an older one that finally bent, snapped, or walked off during a project. At Harbor Freight, the Pittsburgh 25-foot tape measure is one of the most common add-on items at checkout. It's lighter, simpler, and clearly built to hit a low price point, which is exactly why it moves so fast. People grab these for secondary locations: a garage, a workshop, a truck, or a rental property, where having a tape measure matters more than having a premium one. Tape measures sell heavily in December because projects stack up fast. The Lowe's tape appeals to buyers who want one solid, everyday measuring tool they won't need to replace soon. The Harbor Freight tape keeps flying off shelves because it's easy to grab 2 or 3 at once and solve the problem everywhere at the same time. That balance between durability and easy replacement comes up again in the next category. 7. Pliers. At Lowe's, the Cobalt groove joint pliers are one of the most reliable sellers in December. They're the kind of tool people assume they already own, right up until a job proves otherwise. The Cobalt pliers have well-machined jaws with clean teeth, and a handle shape that gives you decent leverage without digging into your palm. The adjustment track moves smoothly, and once set, it holds its position under normal household torque. These are commonly picked up for plumbing fixes, appliance hookups, and general repair work, where you need grip without slipping. At Harbor Freight, the steady mover is the Pittsburgh or Doyle groove joint pliers, depending on store stock. The Pittsburgh version is simpler and lighter, while the Doyle version feels more solid and heavier in the hand. Both sell well in December because they cover a wide range of tasks and don't require much thought. At checkout, pliers move fast this time of year because they solve problems immediately. The Lowe's option appeals to buyers who want a single, dependable pair for their main toolbox. The Harbor Freight options keep selling because they make it easy to add an extra pair for a specific job or location. That same buy it when you need it mindset shows up again in the next category. 6. Utility knives. Utility knives are one of those tools people replace without thinking, which is why they move so quickly in December. At Lowe's, the Craftsman folding utility knife has been one of the more common grab-and-go items. The design is familiar and straightforward, which makes it easy to put to work right away. The body is light but solid. The blade locks securely, and changing blades doesn't slow you down when you're opening boxes or trimming materials. Over at Harbor Freight, the Icon folding utility knife keeps selling for a different reason. It's heavier, more rigid, and feels built to take rough handling. People tend to reach for this one when the knife is going to get dropped, scraped, or pushed harder than usual. Both knives are moving because they're tools people expect to wear out. The Lowe's option fits everyday cutting and repetitive use. The Harbor Freight option keeps selling because it's easy to abuse and easy to replace. That same buying mindset shows up again in the next category. 5. Small socket sets. Socket sets are one of the categories that always spike in December because this is when people finally tackle repairs they've been putting off. At Lowe's, a steady mover in this range is the Craftsman Compact Socket Set. This isn't a giant mechanics kit. It's a focus set built around the sizes people actually use. The ratchet has a low-profile head, which helps in tight spaces, and the sockets are clearly marked, so you're not squinting or guessing mid-job. It's the kind of set people buy when they want something that works cleanly without dragging out a full toolbox. At Harbor Freight, the comparable shelf mover is the Quinn Compact Socket Set, with the Pittsburgh versions not far behind. These sets lean into coverage. You usually get more pieces, more combinations, and more flexibility for odd jobs. People grab them for car kits, secondary toolboxes, or situations where the tools might not come back pristine. What's driving sales here is practicality. The Lowe's set appeals to buyers who want a clean, organized kit that feels dependable right out of the case. The Harbor Freight sets keep moving because they make it easy to solve a problem quickly without committing to a larger or more expensive setup. And quick note, if this kind of breakdown is useful for you, take a second to like the video and subscribe. It helps the channel, and it tells me to keep doing these straight, no-fluff tool breakdowns. Now let's move on to number 4. 4. Work lights and flashlights. Bad lighting turns simple jobs into slow, frustrating ones, which is why work lights are some of the fastest moving tools every December. Projects pile up late in the year, days are shorter. Garages, basements, crawl spaces, and utility closets all feel darker than usual. When people realize they're squinting or working one-handed with a phone light, they grab a work light, and they don't overthink it. At Lowe's, one of the steady sellers in this range is the Cobalt LED work light. It's compact and designed for close-range tasks, which is where most homeowners actually need light. The output is bright enough to clearly see fittings, fasteners, and wiring without washing everything out. The housing feels solid with rubberized edges that help it survive being set down hard or knocked off a surface. The design matters here. This light can sit flat, stand upright, or hang in tight spaces without constant repositioning. That makes it useful under sinks, inside cabinets, behind appliances, or on a small workbench. It's the kind of light people buy once and then keep reaching for because it's always easy to place. At Harbor Freight, the Braun LED work light continues to move quickly for a different reason. Braun lights tend to prioritize coverage. Instead of a narrow beam, you get a wider, more even spread of light that fills a space. That's useful for garages, vehicle work, basements, and general cleanup where you want to see everything at once. These lights are also known for being durable in everyday use. People aren't gentle with work lights. They get dropped, leaned against walls, tossed onto concrete floors. Braun lights sell because buyers expect them to take that kind of handling without fuss. Work lights sell so well in December because they deliver instant payoff. The Lowe's option appeals to people working in tight, detailed spaces where placement matters. The Harbor Freight option keeps moving because it lights up larger areas quickly and doesn't require careful handling. That same immediate usefulness factor shows up even more clearly in the next category. 3. Bar clamps. Clamps don't get talked about much, but they're one of the fastest moving tool categories every December because they fix problems people didn't plan for. This is when furniture gets repaired. Instead of replaced, loose parts get glued instead of ignored, and quick builds happen in garages and spare rooms. The moment someone realizes they need a third hand, they buy clamps. At Lowe's, the Cobalt bar clamps are a consistent shelf mover for exactly that reason. They're designed to be simple and predictable. The squeeze trigger engages smoothly, the release doesn't stick, and the bar stays straight under light to moderate pressure. That matters when you're trying to keep two pieces aligned instead of fighting tool flex. The pads on the Cobalt clamps are wide and slightly soft, which helps spread pressure and reduces denting on wood, MDF, or finished surfaces. These are the clamps people grab for furniture repair, trim, work, shelving, and glue-ups, where control matters more than brute force. At Harbor Freight, the clamps that move fastest are the Pittsburgh bar clamps, with the Bremen versions showing up frequently in heavier use carts. Pittsburgh clamps are lighter and more flexible, which works fine for temporary holding, positioning, or light glue work. Bremen clamps feel stiffer in the bar and apply pressure more evenly, which makes them more appealing for anyone clamping thicker material or applying more force. Clamps sell well in December because people rarely stop at just one. They realize quickly that 2 clamps are better than 1, and 4 are better than 2. The Lowe's option appeals to buyers who want controlled, repeatable clamping without fuss. The Harbor Freight options keep moving because they make it easy to build a small clamp collection without hesitation. That same stack them up buying behavior becomes even more obvious in the next category. 2. Power tool accessories. Power tools don't stop projects. Missing or worn accessories do. That's why this category explodes in December. This is the time of year when people finally use their drills, drivers, and saws again. Bits snap, tips strip, blades dull, and progress stops immediately. When that happens, people don't debate brands. They grab replacements and keep moving. At Lowe's, the small, everyday Cobalt and Bosch drill and driver bit sets are some of the fastest sellers. These aren't specialty kits or oversized assortments. They're built around the sizes people actually wear out. Phillips bits, Torx bits, common drill sizes for wood and light metal. The packaging is clear, the labeling is easy to read, and the sizing is consistent, which makes these sets easy to grab mid-project without second guessing. These sets get bought to solve problems in real time. A stripped screw, a broken bit, or a stalled install is usually what sends someone down this aisle. That urgency is why these items move so fast. At Harbor Freight, the steady sellers are the Warrior and Hercules accessory sets. These focus less on refinement and more on coverage. You usually get more pieces, more duplicates, and enough variety that people don't worry about breaking or dulling a bit. They're popular for rough work, loaner drills, and jobs where the bit might not survive the day. Harbor Freight accessories also sell well because people buy them in multiples. One set for the garage, one for the truck, one to leave at a job site. Accessories move in December because they eliminate friction. The Lowe's sets appeal to buyers who want reliable replacements that feel predictable and organized. The Harbor Freight sets keep flying off shelves because they let people keep working without hesitation or concern about wear. That same repeat purchase behavior becomes even more obvious in the final category. 1. Work gloves and safety gear. Work gloves outsell most tools in December for one simple reason: they wear out faster when people actually start working again. Cold weather changes how projects get done. People are moving boxes, cleaning yards, fixing gates, dealing with frozen hardware, and handling materials they avoided all year. Gloves get wet, stiff, torn, or lost, and once that happens, they get replaced immediately. At Lowe's, Cobalt, and Craftsman, work gloves are among the most frequently restocked items in the store this time of year. These gloves are built for general-purpose use, not a single specialized task. The fit is consistent across sizes, which matters because people tend to rebuy the same style once they know it works. The palms offer enough grip for tools and materials without feeling overly thick, and the backs stay flexible enough that your hands don't feel restricted. Another reason these gloves sell so well is comfort over time. People wear them longer in colder months, and discomfort becomes obvious fast. The Lowe's gloves tend to feel familiar and predictable, which makes them an easy grab when someone doesn't want to experiment. At Harbor Freight, the shelves move just as fast with hardy work gloves and their mechanics-style gloves. These are popular for a different reason. People treat them as consumables. They buy them knowing they might get ruined, soaked, ripped, covered in grease, or left somewhere they won't come back from. That mindset drives volume. Harbor Freight gloves get picked up for rough work, outdoor jobs, cold weather cleanup, and situations where durability matters less than having protection right now. They're also common add-ons when people are already buying other tools. Gloves dominate December sales because they solve multiple problems at once. They protect hands, improve grip in cold conditions, and make uncomfortable work manageable. The Lowe's gloves appeal to buyers who want comfort and consistency across a wide range of tasks. The Harbor Freight gloves keep flying off shelves because they make it easy to stock up and not worry about what happens to them. That's what ties this whole list together. Tools that aren't flashy, prices that make sense in December, and products people buy because they actually need them, not because they were talked into it. What to look for when buying cheap tools in December. Cheap tools can be a smart buy or a complete waste, and the difference usually comes down to a few small details people skip when they're rushing through the aisle. The first thing to look at is how the tool is meant to be used, not how it looks. Cheap tools work best when they're solving a narrow problem. A utility knife, a clamp, or a work light only needs to do one job well. When a budget tool promises to do everything, that's usually where corners were cut. Next, pay attention to where stress actually hits the tool. On wrenches, it's the jaw fit. On clamps, it's bar flex and pad contact. On lights, it's the switch and housing. If those parts feel loose, thin, or poorly aligned, the low price won't matter once it fails. Another thing that matters is how often you expect to replace it. Some tools are fine to treat as consumables. Gloves, bits, utility knives, and accessories fall into that category. Buying cheap makes sense when you already expect wear, loss, or damage. For tools that are supposed to last years, that calculation changes. It also helps to think about where the tool will live. A backup tool in a truck, garage, or rental property doesn't need the same refinement as something in your main toolbox. Cheap tools shine when they're filling gaps, not replacing your best gear. Finally, don't ignore how the tool feels in your hand. Even at the low end, comfort matters. Sharp edges, awkward grips, or stiff adjustments are warning signs. If it already feels annoying in the store, it won't get better once you're using it. That's the common thread behind the tools that actually sell out in December. They're simple, focused, and priced in a way that makes sense for how they're used. If this breakdown helped you shop smarter this month, hit like, subscribe, and let me know which cheap tool you've had the best luck with.